Dear students, good morning everyone. This is the first revision lecture related to class 9 physics from third chapter, that is gravitation. And in this revision lecture, today we will discuss about three important concepts. The first, that is Newton's law of gravitation. Second, Kepler's law of planetary motions. And third, origination of inverse square law from Kepler's third law. And the inverse square law here, that is the concept of Newton's formulation, Newton's formula, that in the terms of gravitation, also a concept of inverse square law, but the derivation of inverse square law with the help of Kepler's third law we will derive here. Just see step by step, each and everything will be clear, but when you just listen from starting to last, then everything will be clear. Otherwise there will be always confusion. So listen carefully from first, that is Newton's law of gravitation. Here Newton's law of gravitation, very simple law. In Newton's law of gravitation, you all are knowing two bodies having different masses m1 and m2, whenever separated by finite distance, then they are applying force of attraction on each other. Just see the concept of diagram here. Body A having mass m1 and body B having mass m2. Then according to Newton's law of gravitation, the force of attraction between these two bodies, that is F, directly proportional to product of masses. It means F proportional m1 m2, and this force also inversely proportional to square of distance between them. It means directly proportional to product of masses and inversely proportional to square of distance between them. When we combine these two concepts, so we have, after combining, just see F proportional m1 m2 upon r square. Clear? And in physics, always remember, when we have to remove the proportionality symbol, then we have to use what? A constant terms. In derivations or in equations, calculation or formula estimation, always when we remove a proportional symbol, either direct proportions or inverse proportion, no matter, but when we remove, then we have to use a constant term. So here this proportional symbol whenever replaced, then F is equal to what? Capital G m1 m2 upon r square. This is the formula for Newton's law of gravitation, and this formula is universal formula. It means this force acting between any two bodies in the whole universe, whenever having some mass, then they applying force on each other, and the force on one body applying on another whenever taken, then the force acting on one magnitude on another and the force on another by another body acting on first always having equal, because this force is what? Product of masses. Suppose this body applying a force on this body, if this force is what? F1 and this force is F2, then F1 must be equal to F2. Direction will be changed, but the magnitude always equal. when you study about this concept in higher classes, either in class 11th or in class 12, then the concept of this force, that is, this is the internal force. Here two body system, whenever applying internal force on each other, then always equal in magnitude but opposite in direction. So here magnitude of force applying by body A on B must be equal to the force applying by body B on body A. So here F is equal to G upon M2 upon R square, then where G is a gravitational constant, and its value 6.67 into 10 power minus 11 Newton meter square per kg square. Very simple. Then just multiply this r square into f, then f into r square. So see, f into r square upon m1 m2 is equal to capital G. It means unit of G, that is Newton meter square upon kilogram into kilogram is what? That is kilogram square. Whenever the formula concept is clear, then you can estimate the unit and the value. This, that is capital G value 6.67 to 10 power minus 11 Newton meter square per kg square is always fixed. It means this value never changes when we just move from one place to another place. Then there is constant value. It means never changes. So that's why this constant, gravitational constant, is also known as universal gravitational constant. Clear? Why this one is called another name universal? Because this value never changes. When we just the value taken at Earth's surface, then this value will be same as when we take the value on either moon surface or on sun surface, then always having fixed value. That is what? 6.67 to 10 power minus 11 Newton meter square per kg square. Due to the reason that value never changes, this gravitational constant is also known as what? Universal gravitational constant. Just note down each and everything. After this, I will explain about Kepler's law. And here Newton's law application, there are so many applications. Suppose any body is just falling downward, then due to force of attraction, or you say that Newton's law of attraction is acting there. And flow of water in river, also an example of force of attraction, that is earth attracting towards the center. Each and every body that lies on earth's surface always attracting towards the center of earth. And low tides or high tides in sea also occurs in the sense of gravitational force, and that is applied by moon. So rain falling downwards, also there is an example of what? Newton's law of gravitation. That's why the raindrop always falling downwards, because rain means what? Having water droplets, and water droplets means what? Somewhat amount mass, and whenever mass attracting towards the earth center, then there is a concept of weight, and weight whenever falling towards the earth, then there is a concept of force of attraction or force of gravity of earth. So there are so many examples related to Newton's law of gravitation. So each and everything you will try to learn. If any confusion in any topic, then you can ask. Just note down first of all this. After this, I will explain about Kepler's law of planetary motion. Just see, after the Newton's law of gravitation, the next one, that is what? Kepler's law of planetary motion. Friends, Kepler was the first who gave the law for the motion of planets around the sun. And the concept of motion of planet around the sun, first of all, that is gave by Copernicus. that is not given in class 9th standard, but it is given in class 11th standard. So you have to mind it. The first idea about planetary motion, that is motion of planet around sun, that is given by what? Copernicus. And here Kepler's law, very simple, total 3 laws given by Kepler's. Number 1, first law. Kepler's first law. And Kepler's first law, another name, that is law of orbit. Law of orbit. Why this one another name, law of orbit? Because in the statement of Kepler's first law, the concept of orbit is utilized. That's why the Kepler's first law, also known as what? Law of orbit. Just see the diagram concept. Whenever diagram concept is clear, then everything will be clear. Here, elliptical path. Elliptical path. Elliptical path means that is oval shape, having major axis, and this one is minor axis. Here this is S1 and this one is S2. So here two foci. The sun lies at any one foci, either at this or at this. So I am just taking the sun lies at this position, and the planet lies at this position. P here planet, and S here sun. Clear? The two foci, either S1 or S2, any one foci we can take the position of sun. The shape of this path is elliptical. Just see about the statement. Every planet revolving around the sun in an elliptical path in an elliptical orbit, and the sun lies at any one foci. Clear? It means the sun may be lies at this position or lies at this position, but the planet revolving in an elliptical orbit. Clear? This is a very simple concept of Kepler's first law. And then after this, Kepler's second law. Let's see. Kepler's second law, or we say that law of area. Law of area. Why this one having another name, law of area? Because in the statement of Kepler's second law, the concept of area is utilized, And the diagram of this one, just see, same as elliptical path. Here two concept, major axis and minor axis. And the position of sun at any one foci, suppose at this point, this is the position of sun, and this is planet. First of all, listen about the statement, then we will draw the diagram and explain about remaining terms. The line joining the planet to the sun, the line joining the planet to the sun sweeps, or you say that covers, equal areas in equal interval of time. See again, this is the planet concept. The line joining the planet to the sun. Suppose this position P1, and after time t, position becomes T2, and during del t time interval, the position of planet changes from P1 to P2, and then the area covered by planet, this one area, saddle region area, statement repeating again, the line joining the planet to the sun sweeps, suppose this one is what, line, and here sweeping in this way, then this one saddle region area sweeps equal area in equal interval of time. This one is position P3, this one is position P4, then the area P1 F1 P2, P1 F1 P2 is equal to P3 F1 P4. Clear? See, for the statement, the line joining the planet to the sun sweeps equal area in equal interval of time, it means the aerial velocity of planet around sun is constant. Clear? It means this one area P1 F1 P2 must be equal to P3 F1 P4. Let's see about the mathematical concept of this statement. I am writing here. Very simple concept about second law. That is area P1 P2 F1 or P1 F1 P2 area, that is area P1 F1 P2 approximately equal to area P3, F1, P4. Clear? This is the mathematical statement of this Kepler's second law. And here one thing also important in this statement: when the planet is away from the sun, when the planet is away from the sun, then the speed of planet is less. Why? Because this one distance linear is what? Less than this one linear distance P3 to P4. Here P3 to P4 means this one distance covered, means this distance is what? Greater than this P1 to P2 distance. Here P1, P2 less than P3, P4, and this one whenever dividing by del t, then distance upon time is what? That is speed. Distance upon time means speed. So linear speed from P1 to P2 is less than the linear speed from P3 to P4. Linear speed from P1 to P2 is less than linear speed from P3 to P4. Clear? P3 to P4, this is the maximum distance covered by the same time interval, but here this one the minimum distance covered by the same interval. This means at this duration the speed is least, and at this duration the speed is maximum. Why? Because the force is what? Inversely proportional to square of distance between both planet and sun. Here P1 to F1 or P2 to F1, that is the average whenever taken, average of P1 to F1 or P2 to F1 will be greater than the average of P3 F1 or P4 F1. It means average distance between P3 to P4 from F1 and P1 to P2 from F1. This one distance average will be smaller than this one distance. It means whenever distance less, then force will be maximum. It means from P1 to P2 force will be minimum, and P3 to P4 force will be maximum. This is the concept of maximum distance covered in the same time interval by the planet whenever the planet closer to the sun, and whenever the planet farthest to the sun, then in the same time interval minimum distance covered by the planet. So all these case about the explanation will be clear, so just note down. After this, next one, the what? Kepler's third law. And Kepler's third law, very simple concept. Kepler's third law. Suppose if t is the time period taken by planet to revolve one complete round, and here if the total length of major axis is what? 2r, and this one is what? Minor axis 2a, and here this is what? Major axis. So half of major axis, or in some book that is mean distance given. So no matter, you can take any one concept, either semi major axis, half of major axis means what? Semi major axis, or mean distance. Such a statement: the square of time period of revolution, the square of time period of revolution of planet around the sun around the sun is directly proportional to cube of semi-major axis. Semi-major axis are mean distance. Clear? That is t square proportional r cube or t square is equal to kr cube. Clear? This is the formula concept and statement also. So each and everything, that is very easy. When you just listen everything, then everything will be clear, and there must be a revision. You have to revise by yourself, either by writing or by reading or by understanding. So you have to read out each and everything clearly. Just note down Kepler's second and third law, and then after this I will explain what the inverse square law. Just note down. Just after the concept of Kepler's law of planetary motion, the next one is what? That is Newton inverse square law. How did Newton guess the inverse square law? Very easy concept. In previous chapters, that is in first chapter motion, I just explained there. In circular motion, there is a concept of centripetal force, and the formula of centripetal force I also explained at that point, because the derivation of formula of force that is given in class 11th standard, but the concept of formula of force, that is centripetal force, given in 9th standard. So just see starting concept. When a planet of mass m, when a planet of mass m revolving around the sun with velocity v, with velocity v in the circular orbit. Suppose here the orbit is what? Circular, and having radius r. In circular orbit, of radius r, then by definition of centripetal force formula, very simple. Centripetal force formula, that is F is equal to what? mv square upon r, where m is the mass of body that is revolving around the sun, v is the velocity of body, that is the velocity of planet, and r is the radius of the circular orbit. So formula for centripetal force, that is F is equal to mv square upon r, very simple formula. And velocity here in circular orbit, suppose the planet taking t time to complete one revolution, then in one revolution, very easy, the concept of, but we know that v is equal to what? 2 pi r by t, where t is time period, Just see after this, when we put the value of v here, equation 1. So from equation 1, f is equal to what? m 2 pi r by t whole square upon r, that is 4 pi square r square m upon t square r. So 1 r will be cancelled out. But from Kepler's third law, what? T square is equal to KR cube. Clear? So we will use the concept T square is equal to what? KR cube. Then F is equal to 4 pi square Rm upon KR cube. So R here cube cancel, then square will remain. Then is equal to what? 4 pi square m upon KR square. Here 4 pi square m and k are constant term. So by taking 4 pi square m and k constant, then F here proportional symbol 1 upon R square. This is the inverse square law concept. Clear? Very simple. Here R square, that is the variable distance. In case of circular orbit, R is fixed, but in case of elliptical orbit, R is what? Varying. R is varying from point to point. So F means what? Force of attraction, that is inversely proportional to the square of distance between the planet and the sun. Clear? So just note down all. After this, we will discuss some multiple choice type questions, that is very important for your upcoming half yearly or PT2 examination. So just note down and we continue. Just say, after the inverse square law, that is the concept derived by Newton's, here some conceptual questions, multiple choice type, and this multiple choice type questions give only one idea about the upcoming questions, how the questions may be asked from the given topics that is in this chapter, that is gravitations. In gravitations, the concept of gravitations, Newton's law of gravitations and Kepler's law, and also about inverse square law I just explained. Let's see the concept of questions here. Number 1, an object is thrown vertically upward. It means the motion of body in upward direction with a velocity u. Here this is the initial velocity, this is the initial velocity. Clear? The greatest height h, the greatest height here, this is the distance to which it will rise before falling down back. It means we have to calculate what? The velocity concept here given, initial velocity, an object is thrown vertically upward with a velocity this, the greatest height, we have to calculate what? Height to which it will rise before falling. So just see the solution of this one concept, very easy solution. Given terms, initial velocity and final velocity up to maximum height becomes 0. Here one thing always remember, in case of upward motion, acceleration due to gravity taken as negative sign. As I explained earlier in case of motion chapter, whenever the concept of equation is utilized, then the distance replaced by h in case of either upward or downward motion, but gravity in case of upward minus g at the place of acceleration, in case of downward plus g at the place of acceleration is used. Just see here, third equation, v square is equal to what? U square plus 2a. Yes, this is the third equation, and here this one is final velocity becomes 0 and u square given plus 2a, that is in upward minus g, and here we have to calculate what? H, that is the height. Then after this minus 2gh, whenever transfer towards left side, then becomes what? Plus 2gh is equal to u square. So u square is equal to, not h is equal to what? U square upon 2g, u square upon 2g. It means the maximum height will be this one, second, u square upon 2g. This is the correct answer. Clear? And the atmosphere consisting of a large number of gases is held due to the earth by winds, not possible, clouds, also not possible, earth's magnetic field, no chance, last one gravity. This is the correct answer, because gravity means what? That is the concept of Newton's law of gravitation, and whenever the gravity is less, then the gaseous molecules that having some speeds, whenever the gravity value less, then the molecules may be escaped, but gravity can hold the gaseous molecules. So the concept of gravity is used here. Gravity, I will say that gravitations or Newton's law of gravitation. And third, according to one of the Kepler's law of planetary motion, and we have just discussed, the square of time period of revolution directly proportional to cube of semi major axis. ये cube of semi major axis and square of time period. So third option clear. And next one, last, the law of gravitational force between the earth and a point mass only, not possible. It means this statement is not perfect. Next one, the earth and the sun, also not correct. And third, any two bodies having some mass. It means what I explained earlier, Newton's law is hold any two bodies having somewhat amount mass, then Newton's law is applicable at that place. It means the force of attraction between two bodies directly proportional to product of masses and inversely proportional to square of distance between them. And here any two charged body, that is also not possible. So third option is here correct option. So third is correct. So in this way you can solve out or understand about each and everything related to this one conditions of concepts, how the conditions is applied on behalf of knowing concept. As I explained today, what Newton's law of gravitation, Kepler's law of planetary motion, and Newton's inverse square law concept, and some multiple choice type questions. And for the next lecture I will explain few more important topics. So that's all for today. Have a nice day.